Well, hello, parents and guardians. I want to thank you for joining us here on the Fearless Parenting Show. I want to remind you that when you get the chance, go to Rumble, like us there. You can go to Parler, Facebook, and like us on those platforms, or you can like us on LinkedIn. We would greatly appreciate it. Today, I want to talk to you, parents, mom and dads, guardians, about the importance of loving yourself enough to be you. It's critical that we keep this in mind, because a lot of times we think about our kids and we think about maybe our spouse, but sometimes we don't love ourselves enough to be the best version of ourselves. We don't love ourselves enough to be who we were truly created to be, and allow ourselves to use those special gifts that God has given us so that we can be the best version of ourselves. You know, to love someone is to strive to accept that person exactly the way that they are, with all the flaws, with all the issues that they have. Truly loving someone is striving to accept that person exactly as they are. Now, you know, if you're going to love anyone, a love is not a real quick thing. You love somebody for just a moment in time. No, to love anyone, it's a journey. And with any journey, it's going to require perseverance and commitment. And so what does this mean? It means that you have to be persistent in loving not only your children and your spouse, but loving yourself despite any and every difficulty you will face in life. There are going to be difficulties in life. If you're a mom and dad, you already know this. You have encountered difficulties. You have had to overcome hurdles. That's just part of life. But every day you need to love yourself. And that means you have to declare it and be intentional in loving yourself. And when you hear me say that, I know people think, oh, well, loving yourself, is that being selfish? No, it's not being selfish. You got to have the capacity to love yourself in order to pour it out into somebody else. As Paul Martinelli says, you can't export what you have not imported. So every day you need to be intentional about importing love into yourself. And it starts by accepting yourself as an imperfect parent. Parents, all of us are imperfect. I was an imperfect parent, but that does not mean that I'm a bad person. I don't need to tie myself up with guilt and shame. What I do need to do is to go out every day and attempt to be the best parent that I can be. I want to share with you from an article by Mariah Gale. She says that accepting yourself as an imperfect parent, it can be a struggle. It can be a struggle to love someone exactly as they are. This is especially true when we think about loving ourselves. Loving ourselves as frazzled parents, tired caregivers, or stressed early childhood professionals is hard. We feel the pressure. We're moving fast to try to keep up and often don't have enough time or resources or even support to even manage it all. Accepting who we are in moments of stress and uncertainty does not mean that we give up on reaching new goals or learning new skills. Accepting ourselves in the moment, just as we are, means honoring that we are imperfect as humans and as parents. Imperfect as humans and parents. Whenever you try to lift more than you're able, you risk injuring yourself. All right. And parents, a lot of times we try to take on, you know, a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, and we don't feel that we can love ourselves. All right. You need to cast that off. You were never meant to carry that much weight. You know, again, my pastor, I was in service on Sunday, and he said, you know, his coach told him, whenever you try to lift more than you're able, you risk injuring yourself. Well, the same thing, parents, is true when you try to take on all that guilt, all that shame for not being perfect, when God knows that you're not perfect and he accepts you just the way you are. He loves you just the way you are. And if he can love you and accept you just the way you are, you can love yourself. So hear me, parents, let go of the guilt and shame of not being that perfect parent. No one is perfect. The only perfect man on this face of this earth throughout all of his history was Jesus Christ. And we are not he in any way, shape, or fashion. Again, parents, it is okay to not be perfect. But I want you to try every day. Get up, look yourself in the mirror. If you need to write yourself notes and put it on, you know, I'm going to start this day by saying, Lord, I love you and I appreciate you loving me and I love myself. Now I'm going to go forward and I'm going to love my family. I'm going to love others. Parents, mom and dads, go forth and love yourself so that you can pour that love into your children. Well, that's all that I have for you for this particular podcast. Again, I want to remind you, hey, go to Rumble. We're there, and you can like us there. Parler. You could also like us there. Facebook, LinkedIn. We would really appreciate it. It would really help us. And I also want to let you know that November the 24th and December the 17th at 1 p.m., I'm going to have a complimentary workshop on family stress to family best. I think that you're going to love it. It's going to be awesome, and I would truly love to have y'all be part of that experience, and it'll last for about an hour. But parents, I guarantee you, when you leave from that workshop, you will have tools that will enable you to better connect with your children. You know, we communicate to our children all the time, so we communicate to our spouse and everyone around us. But a lot of times we don't make connections. Not at all. We hear what the other person is saying, but hearing is not listening. Listening is listening with intentionality to what the person has to say, to what they're trying to get across. This workshop will help you do that with your children, and it will help your children do that with you. So until next time we meet, parents, as always, I want you to go forth and fearlessly parent. God bless.